Hey YouTube, Jake here. This is tutorial 15 in our game development series, and this is gonna be a little shorter tutorial. We're just gonna do one little part in it, or a couple little things. But basically, guys, from here on out, it's gonna get a little more heavy with the amount of code we have to write. So it might be breaking up into shorter tutorials because eventually they're gonna get really, really long if I don't break it up. So that's what we're gonna do. Now let's start off. Well, so far with our game, our jet can basically do circles around the enemy jet. But our jet looks like it's going pretty smooth, actually. Like the way it draws, it goes pretty smoothly. And right now it's set at 2 pixels speed, or the speed is 2 pixels per FPS, whatever, like how often the enemy gets drawn. Now, one thing I forgot, actually, enemy functions are right here. I don't know, it's your choice. I just do it so I know what I'm doing or where I am. Anyways, so that's fixed. Now, do you see how the jet, our good jet, is behind the enemy jet? And both jets are over the background. The background only gets drawn once at the beginning of our program. Let's see. Where do we draw it? Oh, draw background right there. We call it right there. Anyways, in our draw function, that's where our jet is drawn and where our enemy is drawn. The reason the enemy is over top of the jet is because we call draw enemy after draw jet. So if we put enemy above the jet, or I mean like above the jet in the code, the jet's going to be drawn, well, the enemy is going to be drawn first, and then the jet will be drawn over top of it. So if we save that and refresh, now if I move the jet over it, oh. Actually, sorry about that, guys. I was totally off there. It does not matter. The reason the enemy is above is because if we check our index, our canvas jet is below our canvas enemy. That's why the enemy is over the jet. So if you guys really wanted to switch these around, you could. And then that would make it so the jet's over top of the enemy. Yep, I'm going to leave it like this, I think. It's up to you guys, whatever you want. If you want the jet to be, our good jet to be behind all the enemy jets, that's fine. But you kind of want to see your character, which is the jet, more. So that's why I'm going to put the jet over top. Anyways, for this tutorial, we're just going to be doing a little part. And I'll put all these files back on my Minus profile. Anyways, the reason we're doing this short tutorial is because right now the jet is just drawn at this point. I want to practice or show you guys how to move the jet constantly by itself. So what to do that, basically, every time a jet is drawn, first of all, we clear the jet so that, well, I'll show you guys what happens after if we don't clear the enemy jet context. But inside of here, what we're going to do is this dot draw x equals, oops, sorry, minus equals this dot speed. Now, just like in our regular jet function, check direction, basically when we hit the up key, it makes the y subtract constantly by the speed. So if we hit the left key, it's making the x coordinate decrease, making it move left. So that's the same concept basically for the enemies. We're taking the enemy's draw x, which is right here, 500, and subtracting the speed every time that the draw gets called. Now, if we refresh, the enemy moves by itself now. Now it's going to keep going forever if I don't stop it. That's why I'm refreshing every time. I basically hit Command R to refresh. That's how I do it so quickly. But basically, the enemy is getting drawn every FPS milliseconds, which is 10 milliseconds. And the jet just keeps moving across. Now, eventually, in a couple other tutorials, once the enemy jet gets past a line over here somewhere, we're going to make that jet disappear so it doesn't take up computer brains and programming power to, like, the program has to keep track of where every single jet is. So you can imagine if you got like 50 jets coming in here and then 50 more coming every 5 seconds or so, for example, it's probably not going to happen, but the program has to keep track of every single jet, but we don't want to keep track of them when they're over here. that's pretty much a waste of our time. So what we're going to do is just let them go through, or if we destroy them with our bullets, eventually we'll get them, then the jet will disappear as well. You know, maybe have a little explosion spray come up here. But yeah, so that is pretty much it for this tutorial. Oh, I want to show you guys what happens if you don't clear. This is why in our enemy draw function and in our enemy or jet draw function, we always clear the context before we draw the new jet. If we don't clear the context, you'll see what happens. Oh, I have to save, that's why. There we go. That happens. Basically, wherever the jet moves, it doesn't erase the previous jet. It just keeps moving across. So if I do this with our jet draw as well, comment it out with 2 forward slashes, and I refresh. Now, when I draw this jet, it kind of makes a cool design, but it's not that, it doesn't, you don't want a game that does this. Well, depends what kind of game you're making. This can be useful in some games, but for this game, we want our jet to be moving and not taking up the whole background. But yeah, so that's about it for this tutorial, guys. I'm just going to set these back to on so that they are cleared, and we'll test it. Perfect. Jets move. And yeah, guys, so that is about it for this tutorial. Next tutorial, we're going to be actually making the jet appear in random spots. So for starters, we're going to make the jet appear between probably this line and this line and this line and this line. So basically the jet's going to randomly appear somewhere on our canvas. Eventually, we're going to get the jet to randomly appear somewhere over here so that it comes in from the right going leftwards. Because you don't want a jet to randomly appear right over top of your jet. That would be not good. Anyways, so that's it for this tutorial, guys. Stay tuned for number 16, and thanks for watching.